Hello, everyone, and welcome to the latest edition of the Pulls Pod in a week that started very well with a 3-2 victory over local rivals Gateshead. And just today, we're recording this on Wednesday evening, and just today it has been released to the fans that things are not progressing as nicely as we would like them to with regards to the takeover. There's also been a release from the Hartlepool College of Further Education that we'll get into later on as well. I'm joined by Danny from the Red Radio tonight. Hi, Danny, how are you?
Hello, mate. Not too bad. How are you?
Well, I was good before today, and
Yeah.
today's put a little bit of a downer on things, but we'll start with the positives before we get into today's news. A little bit later on, we had the win against Gateshead on Monday, which we were both there for and both witnessed a masterclass by Reyes Cleary in particular. But overall, the performance from the entire team, you would suggest, Danny, would be a positive.
Yeah, I think every outfield player, I mean, you couldn't really single one person out apart from Reyes Cleary. They were all very, very good. And I think the one thing that stuck out to me is the midfield more than anything. Because I think everybody, when the team sheet came out, thought, we're going to get passed around here. We're going to get absolutely walked over. And to be fair, every man, each to a man, did their job perfectly.
Yeah, I mean, when I looked at the team sheet, the first thought that I had was the defence, because unfortunately, Waterfall and Park's both been out.
Yeah.
Only Billy Sastavi's left as a natural centre back. There's a lot of speculation about the formation. Our first broached the 4-2-3-1, and obviously it turned out to be a back three in the end. But it's a testament to the people on the pitch, and with Billy Sastavis going off as well before half time, it's a testament to those defenders that other than the two goals, which we'll come on to later on about the goalkeeper, but other than the two goals, you didn't really sense that they were in that much danger.
Well, I mean, I don't really recall them having many big chances, apart from when, as you mentioned, the two goals, which we'll talk about, I'm sure. There may have been one or two, but nothing major compared to the gated sides that we've seen over the last year or two, which every time we play them, they seem to look like the best team in the world, whether that's us making them look like the best team in the world or whatever it is. But I mean, on Monday, they just didn't look the same outfit.
No, they didn't, especially when we've played them at their place. They do seem to get the better of us more often
Yeah,
than not. To be fair, I might be wrong, but I don't think we've ever won a Gateshead. It certainly doesn't feel like we have.
no.
But we've enjoyed a bit more success at the Vic, or the Prestige Group Stadium, as we should call it at the moment. But we'll move on to the two goals. Does it feel like Adam Smith could have done better with both?
I think both are preventable. I think that's the nicest way to put it. Both are preventable. The second one specifically, I mean, caught in no man's land, just sort of flapped at it. It happens, but I'm just glad that it happened at 3-1.
Yeah, I think if that had happened earlier on in the game, I mean, to be fair, even if it had happened earlier on in the game at 3-1, if it had happened, say, on the hour mark rather
Yeah.
than in the last minute, I think it would have been a very long half an hour if it had happened at that point. But as you say, the fact that we were 3-1 up at the time helped us to see it out. And I think personally, and I'm pretty sure you'll agree, that that comes down to one man on the pitch.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. I mean, there's no hiding away from that at all.
He is far above this division.
I mean, I've actually ran out of words that you can use to describe him. He is just I said this after the game. I don't think I've heard the Millhouse stand that loud for something that wasn't a goal
Yeah,
in a long time.
I stood up and applauded that. Because as we spoke about before we came on as well, it's not as if the Gator player in possession was slow,
No.
which only highlights how impressive it was that he managed to get back. There was a moment, if you have a look at, there's a clip on Twitter, if anyone, or X or
Mhm.
whatever it's called these days, if anyone's seen it back, there's a clip where you can see the Gator player moving beyond whoever the Pulse player was, that he moved beyond the
Fergie, I
halfway
think.
line. I think it was
Yeah.
Fergie, yeah. And Cleary's on the halfway line, pretty much, And there's a moment where it just seems to click into gear. He needs to get back, and all of a sudden he goes from 0 to 60 like in a matter of seconds.
Yeah,
And then
it's
like
ridiculous.
yeah, and then a few like 5 seconds later, he's won a free kick because he's won the ball back.
Yeah,
It's a ridiculous bit of defending from a player that at the start of his tenure, I think it's fair to say people were slightly underwhelmed on social media about his signing because they'd seen what had happened at Walsall and they weren't particularly impressed with the signing at the time. And Limbrick was trying to fit him into the wing back role that he's ended up sort of inhabiting a little bit recently. And he didn't look that much of a natural fit, but it's a credit to his character that he seems to have made it work
yeah,
for himself.
yeah. I mean, 100%. It's probably not a position that he expected to play in. He probably never in his wildest dreams when he came up to Hartlepool thought I'm going to end up playing left wing back as a right-footed winger. But I mean, 6 goals from wing back already is just a ridiculous return. Albeit probably a couple of them aren't from wing back specifically, but playing in that position for most of the games, I think it adds something different as well to the side because I don't think there's many, if any, sides that'll play with a player like that in the wing back role. The only other goal scoring sort of fullback I can think of is probably Gus Scott Morris,
Yes, doing well
and
for
even
himself as well.
yeah, and even then he's more of a just a traditional wing back.
Yeah, I mean, there's a difference between wing back and full back. Wing back, it gives you more license to get forward.
Oh
So
yeah,
I would, yeah, I would suggest that you're right on that score. We don't often play with wing backs. If you think about our history, certainly our recent history, sort of since 2000, if you'd say, the only time we've really played with wing backs and a back three would be when Dave Chalner came in
yeah.
and got us promoted in that season where, oh, who was right wing back for us at that time? Was it
Derry,
Gary and
and then
Francis Angol on the left and
yeah,
Ferguson
and then
rotating?
Ferguson and Transangle. Thing is, the one thing I've noticed, which is similar to how Challoner deployed Cass and Sterry, playing Ferguson at left centre back.
Yes.
So you've got that sort of person who can fit into a full back. If say Cleary was to get caught forward, you can then shift into a four.
Yeah, and it was similar to Stevenson being on the right hand side of that
Yeah,
back three as well, with Hunter slotting in to the centre when Sas Davies unfortunately had to go off injured. It's an interesting bit of tactical nous, shall we say, because we
yeah,
didn't. So we call it tactical nous, where you play fullbacks in that right or left sided role of the centre back in a back three. And as you say, when the wing backs bomb on, it feels like they can then slide across to compensate.
yeah. Because they're used to playing there as well. I mean, Fergie's played countless games in the fullback position. And I mean, if you look after Fergie, we don't have another natural person who you could think could do that at centre back. And a lot of people have been saying about Fergie how he's sort of lost a step. And I mean that could be the next logical step if we do continue to play three to slot him into the left centre back.
I mean, it feels like that could be a solution, certainly for the next two games, if Waterfall and Parks don't return for
Yeah,
Saturday or for the bank holiday game against Forest Green. It may well be something to try with a view to next season, and again, we'll come on to future parties in a moment. But it feels like if we can get them used to that role, it provides a bit of flexibility going forward.
yeah. It's just depth because you can never have too much depth in that sort of position because you never know. One injury can wipe out a season, which we've seen happen to us. One injury, and I mean, look at us, 2 injuries, and we had to play a young right back at centre back and an experienced left back at centre back. So if they can get more experience playing there, then happy days.
Absolutely, and given that we don't have much to play for in the next two games, it may well be the time to experiment with that sort of thing as well. Just a couple of players to highlight as well before we move on to the inevitable news. Manny Desiree up front scored the third
Yep.
goal following an excellent run from Reyes Cleary, as everyone will have seen from the highlights, or if you were there on Monday afternoon. And the finish itself, I thought originally that he tried to shoot and it just rebounded kindly for him, but I think if you look at the highlights, he does take a really good touch over the keeper
Yeah.
when to set himself up for it. And to be fair, I think I've sort of done him a disservice thinking that it was just a lucky rebound because it was an excellent finish.
It was, and I think That's Manny's game all day long. He's not going to be the striker that runs in behind for you, but he is a proper number nine, as you would say. He's in the right place at the right times, 9 out of 10 times. And something that I saw on, as you mentioned, Twitter or X or whatever it's called now, and I don't know if this is true, but 52 goal contributions in 88 games. That is very impressive.
For this level, that is an excellent return for a
Yeah,
striker.
100%. I think they broke it down as 42 and then 10.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, that's still an excellent return, sort of
Yeah,
chipping in with the assists. And to be fair to assists as well, in general, there are a lot of passes that are made that don't result in assists because the goals aren't taken. So I'd
yeah,
imagine, I can't think of any off the top of my head, but I'd imagine that he's played his part in moves that unfortunately haven't come up trumps with a goal, I should say. And to that end as well, another play you could highlight potentially is Luke Charman on the right hand side, again shoved into that wing back role to compensate for the lack of a centre back, and got the first goal. And he looked in better shape than he has recently.
he has. He had that purple patch earlier on in the year where it felt like everything he touched turned to gold, and then just sort of started to struggle a little bit again randomly. But I think he's another one of those where he's a solid National League depth option.
Yeah, and the last highlight I'll make before we move on to today's news would be for Joe Gray as well, because more recently, with the likes of Gary Medine and Manny Desirue ahead of him in the striker's position, he's played a little bit deeper, either in the 10 or out wide. But in this game, it did look as though he was playing up front with Manny D, and it was good to see the interplay between those two again that we've seen before but haven't seen necessarily a lot this season.
Yeah, and I think Joe Gray will probably be disappointed this season as well, probably with just how the season's gone because it's been stop start for him. Because I think this season was the one where a lot of Pools fans, myself included, thought, you know what, this could be Joe Gray's breakout year. Start to put a decent amount of productivity. He finished last season really well, but it just, for one reason or another, hasn't happened. And God knows where we are with contracts because we'll talk about it later on. But I mean, who would sign a contract at a place where you don't know if anything's guaranteed?
And that is a lovely little segue into the main topic of the day. As we said at the beginning, it would have been nice to have a little chat about Gateshead for 20 minutes to half an hour, just to have a bit of positivity. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, the statements that have come out today haven't exactly provided reassurance to people for a number of different reasons, most of which we'll go on to. Now, it's important to state, as we do every week, myself and whoever happens to be on, we don't have any inside knowledge of anything at the club, nor do we have any inside knowledge for any interested parties at all. So this is all purely speculation. Anything that I'm reading out has been provided as a statement by either the club or whoever we happen to be talking about at the time. So, that's the disclaimer, if you like. We'll get that out of the way first. And to go into it, we'll start with the statement from the board. We'll come on to the college later on for anyone who's seen that one. But we'll start with the board update first of all, which states that they'd like to provide further information on the takeover and club operations alongside the release of the season tickets for next season. It says that Mr. Singer's reiterated he'll honour his commitment to fund key club operations, including wages, until the last game of this season. It says that due processes are still ongoing with potential takeover parties, including those who have had offers accepted approximately 6 weeks ago. And Mr. Singer stressed that he's committed to stepping away, he's not holding anything up from that. Now, before we go on any further, that is actually quite an interesting line to say that the offers were accepted. That's a
Yeah,
very important point to state
yeah.
that these
It's
offers
good
have
that they've
been.
been accepted.
So that shows that there's something there going forward. Now, the next bit. Given the short time scale to the end of the season, it is now highly unlikely that any takeover will be complete before the current owner deadline is reached. It is obviously crucial that the club continues to operate beyond the season end, and the interim board and club staff will continue to work hard to manage day-to-day operations effectively. The next bit is the important bit, we'll come on to that shortly, just to mention in that bit as well, the current owner deadline.
Yeah,
I'm assuming the current owner deadline is the last game of the season. That's when he'll
yeah.
cease funding. So that's
I
important.
tell you what, though, there's an interesting thing to note there. Current owner deadline. So I mean, that
I'm
suggests,
assuming that is it. That's referencing the current owner rather than the current deadline
yeah.
potentially. I
And
do
the
get what
other
you're
thing
saying, but
yeah,
yeah, I think that's what it
the
means.
the other thing is, it would have been nice to have received an update on that deposited proof of funds situation.
That
Because
is what
that
I
was a big
wondered.
thing, that was the big part of their original statement a couple of weeks ago, that
Yeah.
there hadn't been any proof of funds deposited. So it would have been nice to have that bit cleared up.
Yeah.
But
Yep, that's very true. We may well get that at some point. I mean, it'll be interesting. The
yeah,
next bit, with the release of something tomorrow, we'll read this next bit out and then I'll come back to my point. With this in mind, we'll be asking our fans for their support as we release the 2025-26 season tickets tomorrow, particularly with purchases of early bird offers. It's important to note that the revenue generated from season tickets in brackets and all commercial income activities close brackets will be ring fenced and only used within the club to maintain operations beyond the end of the season. The current owner has made a formal commitment to endorse and uphold this point. Now that's been something of a controversial point at this today when the statement was released earlier on, because the point made by a lot of fans, rightly or wrongly, is why would you pay for something when we're not sure if this is going to happen beyond the end of the season? Now, the optimism is obviously there that this will get done. There's been no suggestion from the club or anyone associated with the club publicly to this point that like it's not going to get done, if that makes
yeah,
sense, to put it bluntly. So the ask is there. Is it something potentially that the fans are right about when they say, it's a strange time, isn't it? I think that's the point that we made before we came on air as
yeah.
well. The timing of this is slightly strange, given what we've come off on Monday.
It just seems like a massive PR own goal to put that in the same statement. I think that's something that could have been handled at a completely different time, but to put that in the same statement just seems like a bad idea because it's just giving extra reasons for people to criticize and extra things for people to be annoyed about.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think that's been put more eloquently than I was trying to put it. But yes, that's the point I was trying to make. Yeah, it's a very it's not particularly taking PR into account, I think
No,
is the right
yeah,
phrase. Yeah, you were right there. It's a difficult one, isn't it? Because there's no suggestion that this isn't the case and what they're stating in the statement. So if he is going to step away come the end of the season, that's clearly what's going to happen. So at the end of the day, you need something to fund. You need the
yeah,
funds to fund the club. That's absolutely vital there. To continue, the ability to continue club operations in a business as usual manner across season ticket, retail, hospitality, and sponsorships will be crucial in providing an extended timeline and a stable platform with aim of completing a takeover transaction. Now, there is a little bit more. We'll come on to that in a second. The other thing that I've just thought about mentioning as well, it's interesting how long this has taken, isn't it?
well, I
Because
mean,
if you think about the previous when Raj Singh took over, the time between that company's house, and I'm not using company's house as the benchmark for every single takeover ever made, but the time that he constructed that company's house and the takeover happening, it happened by now.
yeah,
So there
how
must be something behind the scenes potentially. You'd think that may be holding this up slightly.
there has to be something. However, when you look at takeovers, you look at Gateshead's takeover, for example, that's been going on now for. I mean, it first got broke probably about what 6 months ago now, 5 months ago.
Yeah, it
That
feels
there
like
was
ages
interest.
since we were giggling about Victor and Ichibi being an owner
Yeah,
of the club. Yeah.
that's exactly what I'm on about. That's took at least a good 4 or 5 months. So
Yeah.
I think to try and get something done in 6 weeks was always a stretch. The interest's still there. I think all parties now just need to sort of really, really get a little bit of a shifty on.
Yeah, it's a point there. I mean, there's been a picture put up by Rob Law of Radio Tees as well with the statement that was put out when Raj Singh was owner of Darlington, and the comparisons between the two statements
It's
there.
it's eerily similar.
It is eerily similar, isn't it? I mean, and we know how that one turned out.
Yeah,
I'm not suggesting again for any, things of defamation here. That's not what I'm suggesting is happening here by any stretch. I'm just pointing out that the
yeah.
similarities are
The
there.
wording of the statement.
Yeah, and to go back to your point of PR as well, it's not sitting right with a lot of fans, is it?
No, not at all. I think you just scroll through the comments and you can see the a little bit of disgruntlement with all the. I think there's multiple different parts of the statement that are getting to fans, but I think that's always going to happen with the uncertainty. I don't think any statement they put out, unless it was that the talks had moved forward, would have ever resulted in a positive reaction.
Yeah, and the statement finishes with a couple more paragraphs there. Collectively, we are asking for everyone to come together in inverted commas, united as one, and to show potential investors and owners how valuable Hartlepool United is to the fantastic fan base at the core of the community. And we ask that you join us on this journey if you are able to do so. A full communication will follow in due course with season ticket options, including a fixed no increase pricing structure for standard season tickets and a further reduced early bird price option. It then says further updates will be provided in due course as well. Now, that last bit there as well. A full communication will come in due course with season ticket options, a fixed no increase pricing structure for seasons tickets standard, and a further reduced early bird price option. Would it, is it strange? I mean, I know that this is being said as we need the funds basically to continue
Yeah,
operating the club. That's fair enough. I understand that. Is it not slightly strange that this pricing is coming about when there are new owners potentially coming in who could maybe want to set their own prices? Like they may well have assessed the company to this point and they may well want to do it themselves.
definitely. But I think at the same time, the interim board have to start to take matters into their own hands and plan for if it doesn't.
The worst case scenario.
Yeah, because I mean, I would rather that they planned for the worst case scenario so that
Yeah.
if they
That's
put all their eggs in one basket, they didn't get blindsided by something and then it all breaks down and all hell breaks loose. I think it is good that as well they're mentioning that further reduced early bird. I mean, it's obvious that it's trying to encourage fans to get them in early, try and help fund the club through a period. But again, I just think the timing of it was could have been better.
Yeah, I think it's all come together to be a little bit of a PR downside, I think.
Yeah.
There it could have been better handled, I think is what we're thinking personally. I don't think necessarily that the content is particularly bad.
No, I think
I don't think it's ideal by any stretch. Obviously, the ideal scenario would have been everyone on the pitch with holding hands with each other and dancing around the centre circle because we've had a takeover. But
yeah.
I don't think it's the worst content in the world. I do think there could have been a little bit more in there in terms of, as you suggested, the proof of funds
Yeah.
situation, which
Just
was
just
being
clarify
brought weeks
what
ago.
everyone was questioning off the back of the last one.
Yeah,
Just, yeah,
because it feels like that was the statement, that was the big statement from the last one, and it hasn't really been built upon in this one. It's sort of
yeah.
been kicked to the side a
I
little.
mean, it doesn't really help us in terms of has it moved forward any? Has it not? Is it still at that stage? And I think it's something that's happening a lot in football. A lot of club statements are very, very vague. Again, we don't know how much information they can and can't share. So I mean that might be part of information now that they're not allowed to share, which is fair enough. But from a fan perspective, you would like to hear the updates on the questions that a lot of people had previously.
Yeah, yeah, as you suggested there, with all clubs these days, it does tend to be. I mean, if anyone had been watching the Manchester City game on Tuesday night against Aston Villa, the adult price, I think the cheapest adult ticket was £71,
Yeah,
which is
ridiculous.
ridiculous. And I think there was a peaceful protest near the Colin Bell statue, I think if I remember rightly, basically saying it's ridiculous, which it is ridiculous. £71 for a game is just ridiculous. For a so-called working man's sport or working
Yeah,
people's sport, it's too much. It's far too much.
and the thing is, it's only going to go up as well
Yeah.
because there's more and more money getting pumped into football every single year, and the people who end up paying the price in football in general. Not saying that this is just at pools, but in football in general, the fans are the ones that have typically been taking the hit.
Yeah, and the other thing about that statement is as well, the United as one slogan to show potential investors and owners how valuable Hartlepool United is. I mean, could you not just look at the attendance figure for that? I mean, it seems like a blunt point, but we had, I think, the third highest attendance in the
Yeah,
league at the weekend. We're consistently in the average of sort of the top four, I think, four, five, that sort of range.
and with any decently close away games, we have a massive away numbers. That's something that you can see based off just numbers alone.
Yeah, you could see potentially with the away games, the likes of Halifax, for example, the likes of Gateshead, York, we take, and even down the south end of the country, you see even a few hundred at a time going
Yeah.
down to these games where you're looking at a travel time in excess of 4, 5, 6 hours. It's a it's a demonstration of the commitment that the fans have to the club.
It is, and the one that stands out to me is when everything was hunky dory before Dave Chalmers left. When we went to Leighton Orient, there was a massive away attendance there for the trip down to London, if I remember rightly. The game that they put on football for a fiver or whatever it's called.
Hmm.
So I think it. I mean, you can see the numbers from when we were last in the football league, and even now. Out of all of the clubs in this division, surely on paper, attendance wise, support wise, we'd have to be one of the most attractive.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to do it because of the aforementioned funding. I'm not going to call it a funding crisis. That was the first thing that popped into my head. Funding issue, shall we say? You've mentioned there about the football for a fiver at Orient. We haven't actually had anything like that this season, have we? We haven't had
Uh,
any offers of any sort. I
no,
can't remember that.
I can't. And I think the one opportunity that was missed with that was when we had three home games back
That's
to back.
exactly what I was thinking. Yeah.
Because there's been a lot of situations where you see other clubs if they've got two back to back, they might even do a buy one at full price, get a second one for a discount, or in that case, buy two, get the third one for free. Just anything like that to try and pack the ground out.
I think what they should have done there was, I think the first Tuesday, you can't get away from that as a rescheduled game. The Saturday one and the Tuesday one, like the 2 and 3 in that little run, I think if you'd have bought a full price for the Saturday, you should have got something off on the Tuesday.
Yeah,
It should have been like a two for whatever deal, if you like, because that'd have got more people in on the Tuesday nights. Tuesday nights at the Vic, we all know what they're like. They're -2, and the wind's blowing and there's rain, and no one wants to be
it's
there.
just rubbish, isn't it? Yeah,
Yeah, no one wants to be there unless we're on a 10-game winning run. So, you get people in by offering them something in return, and you never know what could happen. But in terms of the only game that we've got left at home, Forest Green, if it is a chance to show potential investors what fans can do, everyone in for a fiver.
yeah. No,
Pack
definitely.
the ground out because everyone, obviously the fans care about the club. If it's everyone in for a fiver, you can see us getting well over five.
I
Possibly
would.
close to six. Like it'd be so much more people in the ground. Like you could have that attendance there. You could have that support, that back in there. I just don't think it'll happen for many reasons. I don't think it's just a you know
I'd be even inclined to say adults for a tenner and all like other bands
concessions.
like concessions and whatever for a fiver.
Yeah, I think that would
Because
help. I think anything would help at this point. I think tenner and a fiver. I mean, it'd be helpful for people working, and calculating tens and fives rather than 22 and 16.
yeah,
But yeah, 10 and a fiver, like, I mean, you could even do, what's the current thing? Under 14s. Under 14s free with a full paying adult.
yeah.
Something like that. Anything like that. Like anything that just sort of offers something back just to demonstrate. And it get people through the door. It always
The
does.
thing, the thing is, it's families that are taking the hit on the what we were talking about with ticket prices in general of football.
Yeah, that's true.
Because say if it's a biggish size family, say two adults, two kids, it's a fortune.
Yeah.
And I
It's a
mean, the higher
fortune.
up the divisions you go, it's literally unfeasible for a working class family to go to
Every
many
game.
games in a season. Yeah,
Yeah. It's a shame, really. I mean, yeah, we'll move on as well to the other statement that came on. Came on. That's a weird phrase. That
Came out.
Mine. It came out. That's what I'm thinking of. You want to take over? I'll drop the microphone round to your house. And, you can talk to me instead. Right. Yeah. So the other communication that came out today, yeah, was the comment from the Hartlepool College of Further Education. For I think a lot of people know, but anyone who doesn't know, there's been a long-standing partnership between the college and the club. It's been going on for years, for a few years now. I think it's 5 years. I may be wrong with the exact nature of that, but they're currently 8 months into a 2-year partnership, which is quite important for this bit here. And the college released a statement. I'm not entirely sure which one came out first because they weren't too far apart, I don't think. The college statement was released at about 9:30 this morning. So that just provides a bit of context there.
Yeah.
But the statement says it's valued its partnership with Hartlepool United FC over the past 5 years. This collaboration between two of the town's anchor institutions has aimed to contribute to the betterment of the town. There's a couple of bits there about the role it's played in developing youngsters. We've had players like Louis Stevenson, Campbell Darcy came on Monday as well. Kean Former made his debut in the cup earlier on this season. Alfie Steele's out on loan. Max Story's out on loan. These sort of players. We've got the partnership. Since the partnership was formed in August 2020 to ensure the continuation of the youth team, just as an addendum, 2020 being when COVID was still a
Yeah.
thing, and obviously there was a lot of talk in wider football, not just with polls, about things that may be trimmed. So it was good to see that continue. The college has been proud to play a wider role within the club. This has included assisting with non-player recruitment and a series of commercial and strategic initiatives that have benefited the community. Someone has been reading a thesaurus when they've written this. I mean, even by my grasp of language, this is a bit of a tongue twister, but I get the point. It says it was privileged to be viewed as a key partner. It enjoyed regular and positive feedback. This is quite important from Hartlepool United, which indicated the relationship was strong and secure. The college is only 8 months into a 2-year agreement. It appreciates things have been rough for the club. As a key strategic partner, the college has helped to attract sponsors and always look to help where possible. It is also worth noting that the college has never charged any player for securing a place on the programme. Now, this is the bit that has caused a bit of anger among supporters. The club's recent decision to abruptly move away from this long-standing relationship with minimal notice and without clear reasoning is disappointing. Prior communication had consistently conveyed positive feedback. It also says current learners on the programme can be assured that it won't be affected with them. Any questions can be directed at the college. The subsequent disclosure that the club will be partnering with a training provider headquartered in Sunderland is particularly surprising. The college views this as a setback to Hartlepool, the town, for several reasons. Nevertheless, the college extends its best wishes to the club and the challengers, etc., etc., as you would expect. Now, obviously, the main points there are about the programme being it says move away. It doesn't say terminated, it says move away. So it may well have ended, but the language doesn't explicitly state that. So we'll treat it as a pause at the moment. But the second point there that they are partnering with a training provider in Sunderland indicates that there's something there. And it's also important to state at this point, which is Wednesday at about 8 o'clock in the evening, there has been no communication from the club directly in this. So if anything comes out tomorrow or on Friday before this gets released, we don't know anything about that at this time. So this may well become out of date very quickly, and I hope it doesn't. So just for the time being, we'll speak on the statement that has been released by the college. Your thoughts, your immediate thoughts, Daniel.
I don't have any words. It just seems unneeded at this point when, I mean, there might not even be an academy to have next season, for example. It just seems strange. That's the best way I can describe it. It just seems something seems off about it, because why would the club have any real reason to go anywhere? You've got a 2-year partnership, and surely the immediate focus shouldn't be necessarily on that. It should be on making sure that there is an academy to have there next season and having a club for the academy to be a part of. But again, it could be one of those things where it sounds bad, but again, we haven't heard from the club, so we can only really hear one side of the story it may have a massive financial benefit to the club,
Yeah,
for
that is a.
example.
Oh, yeah.
And
I'll go on.
if that's the case, then I mean, you can't really knock the club for taking the financial boost, especially with the ongoing situation.
Yeah, and it's important to build the spine before next season, provided that there will be a next season, hopefully.
Yeah,
And it again, if it's the case that they are in Sunderland for the foreseeable, it's a disappointment for the town and for the college in particular. If it gets us the players to move forward, it is what it is, isn't
yeah,
it? If they can provide something, then it's a very awkward situation, certainly for the academy players and for the town in general. But we'll have to see how things go. As we've said, if anything does come out in the next couple of days that we haven't seen before recording this, then we can only apologise. But up to this point, we can only speak on what we've seen. And hopefully, in the next couple of weeks, things do look up for the club. And if there is any more
yeah,
statements made, then we will, of course, come back to record with whoever it might be that joins me. It may well be you again, Danny. Thank you very much for joining me this week.
yeah.
And
No worries.
crossed for positive resolution in the near future.